What is up, heroes? This is Midnight Zero, and welcome back to the UCL videos. This one, for week 3, I'm going up against Ethan, I think the Ontario Omastars. Anyways, you can see his team on the right. He's got a Star Raptor. His first pick, I know he loves this Pokemon. Garchomp, Chansey, Forretress, Heracross. I know you can read the rest, but, and as always, I'm bringing my usual Pokemon. You can see the Pokemon I chose on screen now, and I'll go over my picks in a second, but I will say, as I was going through the team building process, this Star Raptor is a monster. With Reckless, it can usually, throw a Choice Scarf on it, and it takes down 2 or 3 Pokemon, and you almost have to wait for it to die from recoil. So, a lot of my team was revolving around, okay, first I need a Star Raptor counter. Then I need something to, hit hard against these Chansey, Forretress. And I noticed his team was really weak to fighting in general, so I wanted to play up on that. And he, in general, doesn't have a lot of bulky mons. And yeah, so I'll get into the team a bit more. So first of all, with all the dark types he has, the fighting types he has, and in general, just lack of fairy types, and lack of fairy resists, I wanted to bring my Altaria. So you'll notice my Mega Altaria, Ayase Eli, and I'm going with a much more standard set again, Dragon Dance and physically attacking. I do have Fire Blast for Forretress in case he wants to go for a Gyro Ball or something like that, but or if he brings it in, for some specially defensive thing. I am aware that he does like Custap Berry, so just know that I'll be playing around that. I have 120 attack EVs, and that allows me to Oko Chomp, Garchomp, after a Dragon Dance, which, that's assuming he's Tank Chomp too. And it's a 2-hit KO on Chansey after a Dragon Dance, so he can't switch that in after a Dragon Dance, which is nice to know. I didn't want to overly invest in attack if it's not going to help me pick up any extra KOs or anything like that, so that I can invest the rest in bulk. My speed allows me to outspeed Choice Banded Adamant Heracross, and that's kind of the only speed tier relevant to Mega Altaria, so it wasn't worth it to put in any more speed. And the rest goes into HP because looking at his team, with Absol and Houndoom, they both have Sucker Punch. Sharpedo might have Aqua Jet. Spiritomb might have Shadow Sneak. And so Machoke also could have Bullet Punch or Mach Punch. And I wanted to be able to sponge those priority hits more so that once I get a Dragon Dance up, I'll be potentially taking damage from these moves. And I want to, be able to live as much as I can. I could also play some mind games with Roost and Sucker Punch too. But again, just want to stay healthy for as long as possible. Now moving on to Yasuo Nico, my Jirachi. This Pokemon was actually the first Pokemon I decided on bringing for this team because I was looking at what I could bring for Star Raptor, what physical walls I have, and a lot of times Star Raptor also runs close combat, and that just destroys Rhydon. So this physically defensive Jirachi is actually the only thing I could really bring. I think Choice Banded, Brave Bird, or Double Edge does around 30 to 40%, which allows me to switch in on this, take a hit, paralyze it, and then Iron Head. And because of leftovers, I'm gaining HP. Also, given Jirachi's a Psychic type, I feel like it's going to act as bait for a lot of the Dark types on his team. And so I wanted to give it Drain Punch. I was really kind of struggling to find out which other moves I should use because this Mon doesn't have a lot of offense when it's very defensive role. And I was thinking maybe Icy Wind for Garchomp, but it doesn't really do that much. And I was thinking maybe, what else was I thinking? Fire Punch for Heracross or even Aerial Ace, something like that. But at the end of the day, Iron Head plus T-Wave is doing about the same damage as I would with any other move. So I was like, maybe Rocks, but I was like, no, I don't want to, invite Mega Absol. I was thinking if I were to set up Rocks, which Mons would I be setting him up against? And I would have Pokemon to set him up against, but he could inevitably switch in his Mega Absol with Magic Bounce and set up Rocks, and that would be a safe switch in. But anyways, yeah, that being said, I think he's going to be switching in Houndoom, his Absol, maybe his Forretress even, maybe his Chansey, on this, and so Drain Punch would be a way for me to heal up in addition to my leftovers recovery. And as a last resort, because I am running a much more offensive team, I was debating between Wish, so Wish Pass, but in reality I'm not going to be switching that much. So I went for Healing Wish as my last move, so that like I said, he's got a lot of priority moves, and if he gets Hazards up, it could be easy for one of my Pokemon to set up and then take out 2 or 3 Pokemon, but take a ton of damage in priority moves along the way. And I can always, if one gets paralyzed or something like that, I can Healing Wish it up and, end the game there. So that's why Jirachi's here. And the next Pokemon is Hoshizorarin, my choice banded Hitmonlee. Now, typically we'd want to run like a Reckless set with Choice Scarf or something like that, but I really just wanted some sheer power without having to risk accuracy, and more importantly, Mach Punch. So like I said, a lot of his team is weak to Fighting type, and he doesn't have a lot of resist for it. So naturally I did some calcs, and Mach Punch does about 50 to 60% to almost every mon on his team, and to like Houndoom and Sharpedo, it does well over 100% after a Choice Band. So I really see a Choice Banded Mach Punch sweep as very possible. As far as the nature goes, I didn't want to make it Unburden in case he gets knocked off, because if he gets knocked off, he's going to be easily picked off by priority moves anyways. Not to mention he's not that fast. I have 244 speed EVs though. Also, I don't think I gave my Pokemon in nature. I think I'm Adamant. I need 271 speed to out. Yeah, I think I'm Adamant. Sorry about that. Yeah, because I have 271 speed so that I outspeed Butterfree by 1 point, so I can go for Choice Band and Knockoff and Oko that, especially after Rocks. I know he might want to bring Focus Sash Butterfree to go for Sleep Powder and then a Quiver Dance, so I am aware of that. But yeah, other than that, a little bit of HP investment so that I have an odd number of HP, and then defense to help with like Sucker Punch, like I mentioned, and Shadow Sneak. Again, I'm bringing a much more offensive team. I've Limber so that on Chansey I don't get Thunder Waved or something like that, or if yeah, just in case I can sponge Thunder Waves from Chansey. I do Oko Chansey with close combat. I didn't want to deal with accuracy shenanigans, especially if I'm going for a sweep. And yeah, so next up is Hanayo, and this is my Doug Trio. First time I'm using Doug Trio, and I was really skeptical because you'll notice a lot of my team is kind of fragile. Can be taken down, by 1 or 2 mons. And this Doug Trio is certainly frail. It's Focus Sash, it's obviously got Arena Trap. As far as the moves go, it's got just enough speed to Speed Tie Sceptile, and Aerial Ace will get a good amount of damage off. Actually, enough damage so that Choice Band Mach Punch would do enough to it. And I wanted to at least have that ability to risk that Speed Tie. I definitely outspeed his Raichu and Oko with Earthquake, which can be really helpful in case he runs Sash Raichu, which he has in the past, to get up a nasty plot. I also wanted this for Stealth Rock. I really, really appreciate Stealth Rock. I'm going for some sweeps with like Dragon Dance Altaria or Scarf Ments, Choice Band and Mach Punch, something like that. And Stealth Rock is crucial to getting a lot of the damage I need to pick up Okos on his team. So I do want to get those up as quickly as possible. And then lastly, Memento. If you don't know what Memento does, it lowers the target's attack and special attack by 2 stages, which is crucial because I could prevent him from going like, I don't know, a power-up punch or something like that. But more importantly, I sacrifice myself and I can bring in my Altaria and set up a Dragon Dance and do so freely. I can also bring in my Hitmonlee and get a Choice Band in close combat off, which would be helpful. I can bring in my Jirachi and get a Thunder Wave off, knowing not going to be able to do anything. I can bring in my Zapdos and get a Toxic off. So like, it's a really important setup move that'll help me gain a lot of momentum in the match. So, moving on, we've got my Salamence, Kosuka Honaka, and I was really not sure about what Ments to bring. I could have brought Dragon Dance, but I couldn't really find a lot of opportunities for it to set up, and so that's, it's partially why Memento is there, but also Choice Scarf. You'll notice I have like some minimal speed investment though. I have 249 speed, so after Scarf I outspeed his Salamence, no, his Sceptile by 1.5 points, which is his fastest Pokemon. So I do outspeed everything on his team, except for Sharpedo after +1, because Sharpedo's ability is Speed Boost, so he's likely going to bring that in, Protect, be at +1, and then he outspeeds my Scarf Ments, but I have other ways to deal with that. But yeah, so Choice Scarf Outrage does so much damage to everything on his team. I very, very reasonably see this Choice Scarf Ments picking up at least 2 kills with just going outrages. And with each kill it gets, because of Moxie, its attack goes up 1 stage, which just guarantees OHKOs, I think, on almost every Pokemon. If he wants to bring in his Forretress, I have Fire Blast for that. Also, typically, like, Earthquake is a move for coverage, and it would be good for, you know, Raichu and Houndoom, but Dragon Claw and Outrage do, like, the same, if not more damage. So it didn't make sense to have a move slot wasted for that. And if every Pokemon is weakened by, let's say, like, Mach Punches or Stealth Rock, Choice Scarf Dragon Claw could also just be the move. Don't want to deal with, like, the confusion and all that, or being locked into it, so I have the ability to switch. And as far as the last move goes, I couldn't really find any move that I wanted to throw on there that did more damage to any Pokemon than Outrage. So I figured I'd throw a Tailwind on there as a last resort. So, like, I can switch in my Salamence and Tailwind, and then bring in my Jirachi and Iron Head a bunch, or I can bring in my Hitmonlee and get, you know, maybe 3 turns of double speed and, like, Choice Band in close combats. Like, that would do a ton of damage. Or my Altaria and get some returns off. So it's kind of like a last resort in that sense. I very much see a Choice Scarf Mence sweep very viable. So, moving on, Minami Kotori, the MVP of my Week 1 match. Same sort of set, it's very Spadef. I realized, looking at the rest of my team, they're all physical attackers, except some of them run Fire Blast. And in reality, looking at his team, all of his team is, if anything, specially bulky. So it doesn't make a ton of sense to run a lot of special attackers. But I did want to have some, and, you know, Zapdos kind of fit that role. And more importantly, I needed some special bulk. Jirachi's physically bulky, and I don't really want any of my other Pokemon taking damage or taking hits, so I needed this special bulk. Although I feel I feel very comfortable sacking Dugtrio after rocks are up, if necessary, to get a switch into my Scarf Mence, which could scare something out or something like that. Anyways, back to the Zapdos. The Spadef is really helpful. I tank hits from Houndoom, Life Orb Houndoom, his Mega Absol, and I actually live some physical hits from his Heracross too, and can hit back hard with Thunderbolt. I can also bring this in on Garchomp, and he can do close to nothing to me, and I can Toxic and defog away his rocks, because rocks are pretty helpful for me, but they also hurt my team quite a bit, especially if they're up before my Focus Sash Dugtrio comes in, because that Sash is pretty helpful too. And let's see, what else? Roost and Thunderbolt for some stab, get some damage off. I outstall his Mesprit if it's Rest Talk and defensive. Same with Spiritomb. And what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, so problems for this team. Particularly, Mega Absol can be a problem. I know Mach Punch OHKOs it, Scarf Mence OHKOs it, Altaria OHKOs it. Like, a lot of Pokemon can OHKO it, but it sets up on my Dugtrio pretty easily, and that could be problematic, and I can't Memento it because of Magic Bounce. What else? So I do want to get rid of his priority users right away. His Houndoom, his Spiritomb, his Absol. If I can get rid of those really quickly, or whichever of the 3 he brings, then I can set up for a sweep, and knowing I outspeed everything with Salamence, or knowing I outspeed everything with after a Dragon Dance with Altaria. Let me check the speed on this real quick. Yeah, I definitely outspeed everything. That would be really helpful. And another problem is Garchomp. You'll notice I don't have any ice moves, and if he brings Tank Chomp, I could be taking potentially a lot of damage from, you know, hitting him with an Outrage. I do know that Outrage does 93 to 100 something %, so after rocks, I'm pretty sure it's like 90% chance of OHKOing, but it's a good shot at OHKOing. And that's an answer. Other than that, I know at +1 I OHKO with my Altaria, and he can't do anything to me. He can Earthquake me, but like that's not going to do a ton. And my Zapdos can Toxic it and wear it down a bit, but I don't have a ton of answers for it. Luckily, he hasn't brought in the past couple weeks, so I don't know if he's going to bring it, but if he does, it'll be a little bit difficult. And those are the main problems. I am a little bit worried about Sharpedo, though. If its speed gets out of hand, and if he brings Sharpedo, I need to preserve Hitmonlee. That's an absolute necessity. Butterfree, if he wants to put something to sleep, I'll probably sack Dugtrio and then get a free switch into Hitmonlee. Or if anything, I could sack or let my Zapdos go to sleep, so that I can bring in, you know, my more offensive Mons. But yeah, it should be a good game. I know he knows what he's doing, and it should be a lot of fun. But until that battle, this has been Midnight Zero, and this mission is complete.